It's time for From the Short Grass with Trey, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Short Grass is brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. Blackman Auctions. For over 80 years, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels. We partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Short Grass, here is your host, Trey.
Welcome to another edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey. Have you tried the Rip Stick yet? If not, you need to get it. Rip Golf has this incredible new training aid called the Rip Stick. The Rip Stick is designed to add swing speed to your swing. What does swing speed do? Well, it increases how far the ball is going to travel. You can swing faster, the ball's going to travel further from the tee, and distance is key in the game of golf. We all know that. Obviously, accuracy, but if you can get the ball closer to the green, that's a lot better than further back, even if you're in the fairway. Nowadays, you can get out of almost anywhere, unless you're playing the U.S. Open where the rough is particularly high. And, yes, it was very brutal at Los Angeles Country Club for this year's U.S. Open. Anyway, the Rip Stick. Go to ripgolf.com. You can order your Rip Stick from there. Do it, and I think you're going to like the results that you get if you use the Rip Stick. Coming up on this edition of From the Short Grass, I sit down with Ole Miss Athletic Director Keith Carter. Now, Keith was a Perryville Mustang, grew up in Perryville, as he says in the interview, spent his first 18 years of his life in Arkansas, but he has found a home at Ole Miss where he played collegiately on the basketball court for the Rebels. We'll talk with Keith Carter after the break. But first, I want to tell you about our good friends at Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group. Matthew Allen, Blair Allen, they know how to manage hotel properties. Find them on the web, bphotels.com. Find one of their properties that they manage for your next upcoming stay, and make sure you stay at a BP Hotel location. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group, a great sponsor of From the Short Grass. We're back with Keith Carter after this. Stay with us.
This is Thomas Blackman of Blackman Auctions. You all know by now I'm not a good golfer, but my son loves the game and he and I have been playing more. I've got my score down to, I've quit playing a scramble on every hole. I'm using the bunker rake much less than I used to, and a lot of the time I hit my drives past the women's tee box. All of my success in golf can directly be tied to me listening to From the Short Grass. Without it, I would not be the golfer I am today. Trey, you owe me $20 for that. Trey knows golf, I know auctions. Come see us at blackmanauctions.com. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
At Stevens, our philosophy is to invest every dollar as if it were our own, to seize opportunity, to anticipate rather than react, to deliver constant focus in an ever-changing world, and to pursue the objectives of our clients in order to help them reach their financial goals. A proven history of helping companies and individuals. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
With all the decisions you need to make about what to do in El Dorado, finding a place to stay is an easy one. The Haywood is uniquely positioned to make your stay one to treasure. Located in the historic Union Square district of El Dorado, the Haywood offers luxurious accommodations that feature contemporary, colorful rooms with high-quality bedding, comfortable baths with walk-in showers, and a spacious workspace with stylish plantation shutters that are unique additions to the stunning decor in a non-smoking environment. Make the Haywood your home away from home the next time you visit El Dorado.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Short Grass. I am your host, Trey. Keith Carter was a 4-year starter at Ole Miss. He helped the Rebels win a pair of Southeastern Conference Western Division titles in 1997 and 98. He earned All-America honors after his senior season in 1999. He was a 4-year starter, received All-SEC first and second team honors in 98 and 99, and also won a gold medal as a member of the U.S. national team at the 1998 Goodwill goodwill games. Keith then played professional basketball in Italy from 2001 until 2008. On November 22, 2019, he was named Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics at Ole Miss by University of Mississippi Chancellor Glenn Boyce. Keith is a native of Perryville, Arkansas, and lives in Oxford with his wife Jill and their 3 children, Drew, Callie, and Hayes. On the tee, Keith Carter.
Keith Carter, thanks for joining me on From the Shortgrass, athletic director at Ole Miss, but an Arkansan at heart. And I say Arkansan, not Arkansas Razorback, but Arkansan.
Absolutely, and always will be. Wouldn't trade a minute of my first 18 years growing up in Perryville, and my parents are still there. My sister and her husband and children are still there. A lot of friends there, so always an Arkansan at heart.
How often are you able to get back to Arkansas outside of when Ole Miss is playing the Razorbacks?
Yeah, not as much as I would like, and it's only 4 hours away, which is kind of crazy. You'd think we'd make it a little more often, but between the Ole Miss schedule and our kids' schedule and all that. Now, my parents and sister, they come down to Oxford a lot. They were actually just down last weekend for my son's graduation, but probably 3 or 4 times a year, something like that. I may try to get over there sometime in June. And see the folks and see what Perryville, see how big Perryville's growing to be. Not too big. I don't think much has changed, but that's what makes it really special.
It does have room to grow. I mean, there's a lot of
plenty of
land
room
out
to grow,
there.
No doubt. Well, I think I've said this before, but really the one thing that's changed since I grew up there is there's a Sonic now. So that's big time for Perryville. That's big time. Having a Sonic. So we didn't have that when I was in high school.
That is big time. When did you first pick up a golf club?
Probably about my junior year in high school. Didn't grow up playing. My parents didn't play or anything like that. But then had some buddies that played, and we started playing. We would go down to War Memorial. We'd play down there. We play at Burns Park. Play down there a lot, and so we'd drive down, and you'd pay for your greens fees, and we'd play all day. You'd start at 8 a.m. and we'd play 36, 45 holes, get our money's worth, walk the whole time. But it's just it's a great game.
When you were growing up, obviously basketball, but did you play other sports before your junior year of high school when you picked up golf?
Yeah, I played baseball. Baseball was and still is my favorite sport. We had a decent little team at Perryville, but I knew if I was going to play in college, it was going to be basketball. So, but baseball was great, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then, obviously golf on the weekends and just, playing that more recreationally.
When you went through your basketball recruiting, what was that like?
It was fun. I wasn't very highly recruited. I started playing AAU with the Arkansas Wings my junior year. And started picking up a little bit of momentum in the recruiting world. But it was, UALR, Arkansas State, Western Kentucky, Southwest Missouri State, those type level schools. And, I was really all set to go to Jonesboro and go to Arkansas State. And kind of at the 11th hour, Ole Miss came in and, said, hey, would you wait till the late signing period? And we want to take a look at you, that type of thing. And I did. And, the rest is history. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. For me, you see a lot of this stuff these days, and people are going to release their top 10 or their whatever. Mm-hmm. I was just ready to make a decision. I wanted to pick a place that I loved and loved the coaches and loved the area and all that. And Oxford was certainly that. And once I committed to them, that was it. I was ready to go, and Oxford was my destination.
I think I told Pat Bradley the other day that he's about 20 years too soon because all of the NIL deals now, and I'm sure you might feel the same way.
Well, it would have been neat to kind of see how all that would have worked back in the day. I think that there's some great opportunities for our young people now, and we got a lot of work to do in that space. Kind of with what it's become. But I do think it's really neat for them to be able to have that opportunity to benefit from their name, image, and likeness, and they should be able to. So, I don't know if like John Deere hats or tall socks or some of those would have sponsored me back in the day, but. It would have been neat to see.
I'm sure tall socks would have. I mean, you were like the only player that had them up to your knees.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was just something we did in high school a little bit, and then got to Ole Miss and was just something to be a little bit of a differentiator, and it kind of stuck. And really to this day, a lot of people they don't really remember any of the games we played or whatever. They're like, hey, you're the one that wore the high socks. I'm like, Well, I guess I accomplished something in college.
Well, Razorback fans would be like, you're a Razorback slayer. You're not the guy that just wore the tall socks. I mean, you knocked down some shots to help beat the Razorbacks when you were a Rebel.
Yeah, we had some good games against the Hogs, and we had a lot of guys from Arkansas, and very candidly, a lot of guys that felt like, hey, we didn't get a shot to go there and play, and so we probably had a little extra motivation, when we played those games. But Coach Richardson, what can you say about him? Great job that he did there, and my junior year, they won the national championship in '94, '95. They go back to the championship game and really should have won another one. And they were recruiting at such a high level. I was a 0 star, I didn't have any stars. And so you look back on it now and you understand, they're going to New York and Kansas City and all over, getting 4 and 5 star recruits. And, a lot of us were good players, but we weren't at that level, rated at that level and whatever. But anyway, all that to say, we end up in Oxford, me, Jason Smith, Anthony Boone, Jason Harrison, Jason Flanagan, a lot of Arkansas guys that just, felt a little bit shunned. And we all had great careers and great teams at Ole Miss, but probably when we rolled up to play the Razorbacks, we were probably had our antenna up a little higher, no doubt.
I would think so. Yeah, let's go back to your junior year of high school and picking up the game of golf. Did you watch it on TV?
A little bit. I had really one buddy that played golf, and he would go play with his dad, and he would always invite me to play, for several years. And I don't want to go play golf.
It wasn't cool back then.
Wasn't cool, and we had other things. We were hunting and fishing and doing all kinds of stuff, but finally one day I went, and a couple of our buddies ended up going, and we just had a great time. We taught ourselves, and we were terrible, but we had a lot of fun with it. And like I said, we would throw the clubs in the back of the truck, drive to Burns Park at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and we'd be down there all day. And it was just a lot of fun. And then all throughout college, had buddies that played, and been fortunate enough to play a lot of really cool places. And my game's gotten a little bit. I actually hadn't played much golf in the past couple of years. Been dealing with a little bit of a back issue, but over the years, it's been really fun to go different places. And growing up in the development world with Ole Miss athletics, you have a lot of golfing events and get to play a lot of nice courses that your donors are members of and those type of things. So it was really cool.
In your job now, and let's go back to in your job in development first for Ole Miss. I mean, you're out there trying to raise money for the athletic department, the school as a whole. How can being on a golf course help you with that?
Well, you see it all the time in a lot of corporate outings for golf. There's reasons for that, because if you're with somebody for 4 or 5 hours, you can learn a lot about them, and you can build relationships. You can figure out within the first 10 or 15 minutes on how they play the game. Are they gonna do they have integrity? Do they have all these different things? And so I think that there's a lot of value to that. And I don't love the old 6-hour 4-man scramble. That takes forever out there. But it is cool to ride in a golf cart with somebody for 18 holes, because you can really learn a lot about them.
You can learn a lot about them, and you can also gauge their interest, right?
That's right. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you build that relationship, and within 18 holes, if you're trying to get an ask out there or learn something about them, you can always find that window to do it. And so there's been many times on a golf course where we've been able to push something across the finish line, or get something to the next step from a development standpoint, or just a relationship standpoint. So I think over the years it's been very beneficial.
What's Keith Carter's closing line? If he's out there and he's got a donor and he's about to commit or she's about to commit, what's that closing line that you would use?
Well, I think, now in the AD role, all our development folks are like, hey, we need you to come in and help us close this out, or whatever. And I don't think it's really like that. I think it's more about building the relationship, because I think sometimes, we have a great development team at Ole Miss. They've raised a lot of money and they do a tremendous job. But there are times when, hey, they've gotten them right there to that finish line, and it is, a relationship with the AD or relationship with the head football coach or basketball coach or whatever that is that can kind of help push it over, over the edge. So I don't know that it's necessarily like a closing line, but, you just try to be yourself. You try to talk about your vision for Ole Miss athletics and, what you're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do for our student athletes. And, a lot of times those people, they get it. I mean, these folks have been asked for money probably most of their professional lives. They've made a lot of money. They give to their church. They give to other charities. But you got to let them know, why it's important for them to give to Ole Miss athletics.
I know that being the AD of Ole Miss now, and there are some big-time alums of the University of Mississippi. I'm sure you've got the opportunity to play golf with a lot of them. Eli Manning, Archie Manning, just to name two.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. We've got a donor, a friend that's a member at Augusta, a member at Pebble Beach. We've played a lotion, out in Little Rock several times. And that's pretty neat to me. And that's kind of what I enjoy now about golf is getting to go see kind of new settings. And, I'm not the best golfer, but it seems like you're a better golfer when you go play some of those, those really cool places that you've seen on TV or whatever. So, but yeah, it's been fun. And that to me is what's great about golf is, you can play it for your whole lifetime. And our best donor, Jerry Hollingsworth, is from right here in Destin, actually lives up in Niceville. And he loves golf. I mean, that's what he's done. He's 90 years old now. I've played many, many rounds of golf with him down here at Indian Bayou. We've played all over the place. Our donor, that's the member at Augusta, has taken him to Augusta, which was really cool. And so just building those relationships is what it's all about.
Yeah, Pebble Beach and Augusta are a long way from Burns Park and War Memorial.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's also the great part about it is some of my best golf memories I've ever had were at Burns Park, So
sure.
We never thought at 17, 18 years old when we were out there, shooting 107, or whatever at Burns Park that, maybe someday I'd get to play at Augusta or Pebble Beach.
For you, when you turned off Washington Avenue and went down Magnolia Lane, what was that like?
It was cool. I mean, it was really cool. It's that is the one that you kind of see on TV, and you kind of envision what it's going to be like, and it was kind of above the expectation.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's really awesome, and a lot of the courses, have been like that. That you get there and you're like, man, this is even better than what you could have imagined. Pebble Beach. I mean, when you're looking out over the water and you're like, holy cow, this is majestic. You kind of forget you're playing golf for a minute. So anyway, it's been cool.
Your bad back has kind of maybe hampered you a little bit, but do you use the game as a way to kind of get away from everything? Because you can get on a golf course and sometimes you're with a donor or something and you're trying to close a deal or just get to know them. But is there a time, Keith, when you can get out there and just relax and let everything else go and just focus on the game and kind of clear your head?
Yeah, I've got a couple of buddies that, when you're with them, we're somewhat serious about the golf, but it's, you're in a safe place, you can have fun, you can talk about whatever. One of my favorite places to play is Trinity Forest in Dallas. My good buddy Hunter Carpenter is a member there. And what I love about it is you're walking, and there's not a ton of places. Most of the time you're playing it out of a cart, but you go out there and you walk, and one, I think it makes you play better when you're walking. You can focus on the next shot, and you're not driving up to it, hitting the shot, and moving on. But two, when you're walking, you just have time to reflect. You're walking, you're checking out all of the things around you, and I can see where the pro golfers. Now I don't want to do it for 4 straight days and walk. I'd be worn out doing that. But I can see why, when they're inside the ropes and, they're walking down these fairways and on these, great golf courses, it's kind of therapeutic. It's a cool thing, and I can see how they love doing it.
Trinity Forest, you just have to worry about the flight path into Dallas Love Field. I mean, a lot of Southwest planes going over you when you're playing there, right?
Absolutely. But it's a cool, cool course, and they've done a tremendous job just basically building out of a landfill down there and turning it into a really, really nice course. And I think Hunter spends, probably more time out there than he does at the office, but don't tell anyone.
We won't tell anyone that you said that. Hunter might not be listening, then he might. Ole Miss golf, the women won a national championship a couple of years ago, and men's golf has been right there at the top. Braden Thornberry won an individual championship a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah, they've been great. Coach Hinckus on the women's side, has done a fantastic job. Obviously, they won the Natty a couple years ago. They've turned into a consistent NCAA team. this year made it back out to Greyhawk and didn't play as well once they got there this year, but one of the top 24, 25 teams in the country. Our men's team has been very consistent as well. They went to the championship last year and then made it back to the tournament this year. Coach Chris Malloy has done a great job. He's an Ole Miss graduate, played golf at Ole Miss back when I was there. I think they're in a really good spot. We've spent some money, out on the golf course and built a short course for them that's been very beneficial. And we're going to do another little renovation out there here probably within the next 12 to 18 months to upgrade their locker room and player facilities and those type of things. But those two have done a great job, and the student athletes have been phenomenal.
In the SEC, is it an arms race to see who can have the best facility, the best practice area, the best team? I think it all kind of works together and blends together, doesn't it?
It really does, and now not specifically in the sport of golf, but with NIL coming into the picture, that's becoming more of a talking point in a lot of our sports. But yeah, it's always been about facilities, and for us at Ole Miss, we don't have the best golf course. We have a good golf course, and our university has done a fantastic job of building it up, and not only do we not have maybe the best quality of golf course, but we only have 2 courses in Oxford. So a lot of other places they have more options, and you go play at Alabama or some other places, Georgia, you've got access to more golf courses and those type of things. So we have to do well with our facilities. We have to make sure that when we bring recruits in, they see this short course. It really is probably one of the top couple of short courses that are around. I mean, it's really, really nice, and once we get the facilities finished, that'll be great too. So you've got to find your ways and your niche that you can attract recruits and hold on to players and those type of things. And I think Corey and Chris have had a great vision of how we can do that.
There was a coach, a football coach that coached at the school 93 miles to the south of you all that would never mention the school up north, or that's how he would mention it. You haven't mentioned Mississippi State, but are they at an advantage with Old Waverly and Mossy Oak being right there 20 minutes from campus?
Yeah, I think they are. It's a phenomenal, facility there, obviously.
But I do see a lot of Ole Miss gear when I go in the pro shop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Old Waverly has always been a little more of a Mississippi State lean, but there's a lot of Ole Miss folks that have, houses down there and weekend homes, and a lot of members that are Ole Miss people. Mr. George Bryan, who recently passed away, was always so good to Ole Miss and our coaches to have them down to play, and they've played Waverly and Mossy Oak, and he's really, really good about that. And I do think that just having that facility, when you can bring a recruit in and say, hey, you have access to this 24/7, it has to have some advantage because it's such a phenomenal course. The 2 courses in the facility are really, really nice. But again, we have our niche too of things that are good for us, and we've been very competitive with Mississippi State.
Your baseball team won a national championship last year. This year, unfortunately for Ole Miss, didn't even make the SEC baseball tournament. And some people say that's baseball. That's just how it works. You got Lane Kiffin in football, and then Chris Beard on the men's side of basketball. And what a season Coach Yo had. I mean, Ole Miss athletics, is it kind of on the climb, if you will?
Well, I think so. The previous 2 years before this year were our highest, statistically our highest ranked years we've ever had. In the Learfield Directors Cup, we finished 22nd 2 years ago and 20th the year before that, the year after that. And then this year, as you mentioned, we didn't have a great year overall. Coach Yo made a great run with women's basketball, but overall just not up to our standard of what we want with Ole Miss athletics. But I do believe, to your point, that we are trending in the right direction. You obviously had to make the change in basketball. Very excited about Coach Beard and what he's going to bring to the table. We feel like Lane is really just catching his stride right now. He'll be in year 4, and has put some roots down, and we feel like he's really going to do some great things in the future. And so I think for us, our goal is we want to be in the tournament in every sport. That's our goal every single year, and if you're in the tournament, you're gonna make some runs. You're gonna get the right matchups and do those type of things. So as we talk around the athletics department, we're not about having a winning season or making the NIT or whatever it is. Like we want to compete and win championships, and we've proven we can do that, and we just want to keep going.
You caught some heat for hiring Chris Beard. Why did you hire Chris Beard?
Once we kind of did the due diligence and got comfortable with the stuff, the reports that were out there from Austin and all that, we got comfortable and confident in that pretty quickly as we made phone calls and talked to a lot of different people and interviewed Chris, obviously, and we got very comfortable with that early on. From a basketball perspective, it was a no-brainer. I mean, he was the best one out there, and in my opinion, is probably one of the top 5 or 10 coaches in the entire country. I think he's the best CEO maybe in the country as far as, running a program, getting the right staff in place, building a roster that makes sense and is intentional, those type of things. And so, just to be, again, candid and honest, if the issue at Texas doesn't happen, we don't have a shot at hiring a guy like Chris Beard. And so I think there was a mutual respect there. And he was like, hey, I want to get back in the game, obviously. And we're like, once we got all this stuff figured out over here, obviously you make a lot of sense for us. So I think it's going to be really cool, and have enjoyed working with Chris already in the first couple months, and I think we're going to be really good this coming up year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You looking forward to the fireside chats?
I am. I don't know if I'll get to be a guest or what, but no, I am. And Chris has a lot of great ideas, and he's bringing a lot of creative and proactive thoughts on how we can get better with Ole Miss basketball. And Coach Davis did a fantastic job. It just didn't translate into wins, and but he left a good foundation. He left a fan base that was hungry for more, and I think Chris is going to be able to come in and take that to the next level.
Best golf course you've ever played?
Wow. It's hard to beat Alotian. I mean, because when you go out there, the best part for me about Alotian is I used to come from Perryville to Little Rock on a Friday night, to go to the movies or whatever, because there wasn't anything to do in Perryville. You drive by that piece of property and it's the side of a mountain for many, many years. I mean, I think it was a hunting lease maybe or something out there. And now you drive up there and it's this immaculate, just carved out, pristine golf course. And the beauty of it is, when I've played out there, one day I think it was us and one other group out there. And then, of course, we went down to the cellar and had dinner and stayed on property and all that. It's just, I think I like it because it's right there in the home state. It's something that we can take pride in. So it's really cool to go there. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Augusta. You talk about I have not had a chance to play Cypress, but those out there, those are fantastic. But yeah, it's just. For an old country boy from Arkansas, it's pretty cool to even step foot on properties like that.
For that old country boy from Arkansas, fantasy foursome, you and 3 others you'd like to play around the golf with, living or deceased, who would they be?
Wow, now that's interesting. I think I'd have to include my donor buddy that's here in Destin, Doc Hollingsworth, because he loves golf, lives golf. He's 90 years old, and I would want him to be there. I think I would probably want to play, a guy that I grew up watching a lot was Daly. I think it would be fun to play with him. There's no doubt it would be fun to play with him. And then I don't know the fourth. You kind of put me on the spot, but. Maybe with one of the Mickelsons or the Tiger Woods or somebody like that, because I think it would be fun to just watch them do it alongside them, and just how maybe in their prime, when Tiger was in his prime, and just stand there in awe and cool. Then hit my power slice over into the woods right after he pipes it 350 down the middle. So,
play a scramble so you could play Tiger's ball.
No doubt.
Keith, thanks so much.
Absolutely enjoyed it.
This is Thomas Blackman with Blackman Auctions. The economy is changing slowly but surely. The market is slowing down in a gradual slide. Not an emergency yet, the sky is not falling, but a change is coming. When times are good, auctions make buyers compete to buy at the highest market value. When the economy gets tough, auctions force buyers to make a purchase decision. Either way, auctions get the highest return for a seller and a strong deal for a buyer. With an experienced auction company, it's a simple process. Go to blackmanauctions.com for more information. Since 1938, better auctions are Blackman Auctions.
Traveling to Fayetteville to watch a game? Forgot to book a room for the night? Beechwood Pinnacle Hotel Group has you covered. Stay where the fans stay. Staybridge Suites is just south of Baum-Walker Stadium and is an all-suite hotel within walking distance of Baum-Walker, Bud Walton, and Razorback Stadium. Or you could stay at the Comfort Inn and Suites with newly remodeled rooms throughout the entire property. Find them on the web at bphotels.com. Beechwood Pinnacle Hotels.
Since 1938, better auctions have always been Blackman Auctions. Go to their website, blackmanauctions.com, find their next upcoming auction, and go. You might find something you didn't know you needed, and you might bid on it, and you might win it at an auction. Blackman Auctions, one of our great sponsors of From the Shortgrass. Remember, when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more, and I hope to see you soon from the Shortgrass.
You've been listening to From the Shortgrass, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network.